Hi and welcome to SCW, the wrestling channel here on YouTube.com. Thank you for choosing the channel and choosing the video. Please subscribe right now. Leave any comments in the comment section. Please like and share the video as well. Hot topic for you right now, almost a superstar focus. The first time I'm just focusing on one superstar and giving my opinion on them specifically. And today it's Charlotte Flair. She is in the news at the moment. Is she liked by some of the community? Hell yeah. Is she hated by some of the community in wrestling? Yes, she is. I'm going to give you my opinion on Charlotte Flair and what I think throughout this video, because a lot of people seem to think that she is taking over wrestling. She's being forced down our throats. She's almost saturating women's wrestling, but at the same time, other people think she's an amazing performer, thinks that she's the best of our generation, of any generation, and I'm going to give my take on it. And later on in the video, of course, I'm going to go to Twitter. I've started doing this now. When I do talk about a topic here on YouTube, I am going to give some of your comments out for you as well and let the public know what you think. So without further ado, my thoughts for Charlotte Flair, and I've been always some of the stand-up for Charlotte Flair because I think she is one of the best women's performers in wrestling, the world, period, in the company right now, and for the women's division of all time. She is without question one of the best to ever lace the pair of boots. She, yes, is the daughter of Ric Flair. Does it give her the privileges and get a foot through the door? Of course it does, but you know what? She's had to have the talent to stay there. She's not as if she's not put on great matches. She is reliable in the ring, and I think this is one of the reasons why WWE goes back towards her. Now, I mentioned Ric Flair. Yes, he has been a 16-time world champion, and I've said throughout the period to expect Charlotte Flair that when she retires will have done the same. It's just a natural narrative for WWE to want to do that. So for that way, Charlotte needs a lot of championship reigns. Now, I've lost count of what she is at this particular point. I believe she's at least on 12 World Championships right now, or maybe even 13. If you classify the NXT Championship as well, there's certainly, she's in the 10s right now. So she's probably got a few reigns left in her before she matches Ric Flair at this point. And I expect that storyline to take place. And probably when she does it, she'll probably win that last one at a WrestleMania. It's all about respect in that point of the Flair name. And yes, that does get us so far in the dance, but like I said, she can back it up. She is great in the ring. There's probably a few matches out there where we turn around and say that the people are on her level. We're talking maybe Io Shirai, Asuka, Tessa Blanchard would be one, and that's a dream match that I really want to see. Becky Lynch, Sasha Banks, Bayley, they can throw out great matches. Now, a number of these matches have been repeated, but yes, I mean, the reason we've got it is because these are perhaps the most popular women and perhaps best at this particular time. Are there other great women in the division? Of course there are, but Charlotte Flair, she's been there, she's done it, and by having the Flair name, she is someone that's seen as legitimate, not just by us, but the fact as well by casual fans who creep in and creep out. They've heard of Ric Flair, they've heard of Charlotte Flair for that case, and they are more likely to be invested in a Flair match. It's just how it is. Unfortunately, if we see some of the up-and-coming talents like a Liv Morgan, who you could say one day could be there, she's not ready yet, and that's the thing. It's all about building new stars, yes, but they have to be ready to be in that position. There are a lot of other great talents who, yes, deserve their TV time, and I think perhaps you could argue that Charlotte Flair has been overused of late, and I think this is where a lot of the hate started to come in for Charlotte. You look and see that she was an NXT champion, as well as being a Raw superstar, and she was appearing on SmackDown. Now, we have to remember with SmackDown, there was 2 appearances, 2 weeks, and is a part of this brand invitational. And they chose Flair first because she's reliable, and they were trying to currently, I believe, do a hard-working storyline. She's supposed to be someone that is willing to be there and gives her all each and every night, but she's a bad person still, so we're not supposed to like her. When you look at NXT, I'm going to agree with a lot of people. I question what the motive was with that title reign. Originally, I thought that it was to build the ratings up, and that when I saw the storyline that she was going to elevate that division, I thought she was going to make a major start at the end of it. To lose the belt in a triple threat match for me didn't make so much sense, especially when she wasn't the one pinned. Now, Triple H believes that there is going to be a storyline that's going to play out for that. We should see how that should play out over the next number of months. So I look forward to seeing where that will go, because it would give me more understanding of how that finish was at TakeOver. But saying that she's no longer now on NXT, she's just on Raw. But a lot of people have a problem with this championship, and she's always in the championship picture. But as I've said previously, it comes with the name, and it comes with the fact that she is probably the legitimate one that's been booked so well over the last 5 or 6 years. We can all say that throughout the period, Becky Lynch at one point was not booked that well, perhaps led to the stardom she got. You could argue that Charlotte Flair is one that made her a star. Ronda Rousey is another one that made Becky Lynch a star, but Charlotte Flair was the one Becky Lynch hit first off to get that heel turn, what was supposed to be a heel turn at the time, believe it or not, and got her so over, and the momentum and the man and everything that we saw that led after it, it all went through Charlotte Flair, and we have to remember that. When we look at people like Bayley, Sasha Banks, they've been booked poorly in places, and that's where it comes down to a lot of the problems of why Charlotte Flair is always the one that they can rely on, because creatively, you could argue that Charlotte Flair's been booked the best of all of those horsewomen up until where Becky Lynch, of course, became the man and then became arguably the face of the company at that point. But with Charlotte Flair as well, as we digress and go back into it, some would argue at this point that maybe creative is what's letting her down, and where we look at like the Roman Reigns forced down our throats. Charlotte Flair, is she? Yes. I mean, I have to agree. As much as being a fan of Charlotte Flair, she is being forced down our throats, and I think that rubs people the wrong way. You could argue that she will be appreciated a lot more after she retires, and I genuinely believe that, because I think at this particular moment, superstars, these stars in WWE, when they get to the top, fans are very quick to turn around and say, it's not for me anymore. I think a lot of people, like myself, when I was growing up, I was always a fan of the mid-card. I was a fan of the journey. I wasn't interested myself personally in seeing Hogan in the main event. I was interested in seeing Shawn Michaels, Bret Hart from the IC title working their way up to becoming to the WWF at the time champion, and it meant so much seeing those people do it. You went through Ruthless Aggression. Rob Van Dam was another one for me, seeing him get to that point. You go through the Attitude Era. Austin, Rock, Triple H, they all went through those steps to get to the top. And I think that with a lot of people, they're ready to see the next level of people do that. And we'll have to wait and see as and when they are. But that comes down to the creative. It doesn't come down to Charlotte Flair. And I think a lot of people, you see a lot of hate on Twitter. And I think that the hate needs to go to the creative direction, because that's where it's being let down. We'll talk about her program with Asuka right now. A lot of people are perhaps not a fan of the way that she was booked. It's obviously the main event takeover, to then being heavily featured on Raw the next night. And like we said, we already feel we're seeing so much of it. The story with Asuka is being built perfectly, and I have to explain why. Charlotte Flair has Asuka's number. Now, Asuka, had Becky Lynch's number, and it was all going to make that victory when Becky got it so much sweeter, which she got at the Royal Rumble this year. It's going to be so sweet for fans when she beats Charlotte Flair. If she'd have done it on Raw, it was a nothing victory. It means nothing. And arguably, they're already building that next program. You can guarantee Nia Jax is not winning at Backlash. That championship is staying home with Asuka. You don't want to see Nia Jax in the title picture. You got good news coming. She's not going to be involved with it after Backlash. I would be surprised if she's going to be someone that's going to be on TV much, actually. I think that some of the people that perhaps people are crying out for, like a Shayna Baszler, will start finding themselves back in with some TV time, and you'll see Charlotte and Asuka carry on a program either to Extreme Rules or to SummerSlam. I don't think that she should beat Asuka for the Raw Women's Championship at this point, although I wouldn't be surprised. But I think SummerSlam is the big, perfect stage that Asuka eventually beats Charlotte Flair and gets that victory. Would it have been better at WrestleMania? Perhaps, but they're both on the same brand and they've both got the story going on now. It's best to go through that way. So, and Charlotte, she's had a lot of losses as well. She's had a lot of big time losses. She doesn't just win every match, even though we see her a lot. So I think that some of the criticism she gets, I think it's unfair. I think she's reliable, and I think the company knows she's reliable because she's a ratings draw in that way, because she's a Flair. Now, does she make a difference of like Wednesday Night Wars? No, but nobody does really. I think WWE is a brand when Raw and SmackDown stars and you don't know who's going to turn up can do it. But I don't think even Becky Lynch made a big difference when it came to that. So I don't think that that's necessarily fair to throw that at Flair. But that's a lot of my points that I want to say. I feel that that she's undervalued or unappreciated by a lot of the fan base from what she's done. I think it's going to be almost like a John Cena, when they come back now and think we seem to appreciate a lot more. And I think that we're going to get that with Charlotte Flair. I think when she retires, I think that's going to be the point that fans are going to probably really turn around and start saying this is possibly the best of all time, if not up there. I mean, we're talking Trish, we're talking Lita. Those are two of the best there. And Becky Lynch has really set a bar, which you know, when that torch was passed on to her, she took it to the sky and took it to the limit. And it's a shame that she's not around right now, because I'm pretty sure we probably would have different storylines going on amongst Raw. Shayna Baszler probably would still be in the title picture, but things have changed, and we have to enjoy the direction of where they're going. I think Asuka's doing a great job as the Raw Women's Champion so far, and I think the program with Charlotte Flair is just what is needed. But anyway, I've babbled on now for quite a little bit, but I've said that I want to give some viewpoints from people that have given their viewpoint on Twitter, and I've taken the best of what I can find of what's come through at the time. So we'll start with some positive ones, or, you know, I think sometimes a lot of these are a bit mixed, but mostly we'll start with the positive ones and we go towards the negative towards the end. The Royal Rumble from Twitter is the first one I'm going to say. Number one women's wrestler of all time, period. Of course people hate her, but it's likely their favourite women's wrestler's best match included Charlotte in some way. Well, we mentioned Becky Lynch earlier on, we mentioned Asuka as well. I'm sure there are others that could be mentioned in that category as well. So I fully agree with this tweet personally. Armchair Wrestling, I've just got to say, Armchair Wrestling, this previous week, they've actually released an interview they've done with Johnny Babad, Marvelous Mark Mero. So go and check that out. Go and look at them on Twitter as well. And follow everyone on Twitter, by the way, that's been involved in this. Let's grow our community together. But they've got an interview with Mark Mero. So that's available for people to go and listen to now. I believe is available on Spotify and other areas. But you can go and follow them on Twitter and find that interview. It's a fascinating listen. But this is their tweet anyway. Charlotte Flair, is one of the top female performers in the world, but she's getting the Cena treatment, forcing people to dislike her. No one can say she's not a good in-ring wrestler, just overutilized. I think that's a good argument that's made there. And like Bruce said, she has been on free shows. Perhaps, you know, as I say, it's rubbed people the wrong way. And I want to see people break through as well. So I should stress that when I say, with everything, that she's been reliable and that, yes, she is one of the best. I do actually agree. I want to see new stars being built all the time. We don't want this to become like maybe a classic WCW reference I can make here, where we see the likes of Hogan, Nash, Goldberg, the same people at the top all the time. Yes, you need to evolve it. You need to move it over. But I agree with the Cena treatment. I think that people will probably look at her differently after she's retired, and at the moment, yeah, she's going to get that boo treatment, and she's a heel a lot of the time anyway, so we're supposed to dislike her, so I guess really she's doing her job pretty well. Jay Peso has gone on to say that I love watching her on TV and love seeing her wrestle. She's the whole package. I think you summed that up very well there, Jay Peso. I agree, she is the whole package. She can do a promo. Every match she does, she's always very good, and usually she brings the best out of a lot of the people she wrestles. I mean, as we said in the Royal Rumble a minute ago, you know, your favourite match of another superstar probably features Charlotte Flair in some fashion from the women's division. Let's go on with some of the negatives, and I think this is a fair one to say from Dennis Co. For people that are not a fan. Shoved down our throats. I'm so sick of her and have been for a long while. Ouch. Well, I do agree to, you know, that she is being forced down our throats and she is on TV a lot, but I've given my reasons of why I think it's not necessarily a bad thing, but I suppose it's not good for fans to feel that way, and maybe here and there they need to maybe utilise better so that you can be a fan, because she does great work, Dennis, and obviously want you to be a fan. Sean Slate next with us now and says, lots get pissed at her, including me, but we should instead be pissed at creative. Vital tweet, this one, and also the next one as well from Jake the Wrestling Kid. Her creative direction is absolutely infuriating, but it's not her fault. Obviously, I blame WWE. These are two very good tweets here that have been put out, because it's the creative direction. Of course, if you're not liking something, it's not the person themselves, and it's good to see that there are people out there who can turn around and say, well, you know, I don't like the way it's been done, but it's the creative decision. It's not her herself that I dislike. I obviously respect what she does, but it's the company's creative direction that is the fault. So I really like those two tweets from the negative direction. And last but not least, I've picked up Mike, Italian Habs Mike. He always loves to throw a question on the Q&A. It's great to see him involved on this as well. So thank you, Mike. Make no mistake, other than EO, that Charlotte is the best female wrestler in the company. Issue is that Charlotte is being overexposed. I don't mind if they go with Charlotte versus Asuka for SummerSlam, but to have Charlotte pin Asuka is bad. They need to do something to salvage this. Well, as I said there, the story there hopefully is to get Asuka her win. I do agree at this point that Charlotte shouldn't win in that feud, but I agree with a lot of those points. I mean, yeah, she has been overexposed, like we say, and yes, she is one of the best females. I think that's a mixed review, but definitely a good one. So as you can see, amongst those tweets, there's a mixed bag of what people feel, but I want to know what you guys think in the comments. So thank you for everyone that's been watching the video today. Really does mean a lot that you're supporting the channel and sticking around, and please subscribe if you like what's going on. If you want more of these, and just let you tell what I think of certain superstars, maybe a creative direction, where it should go, how it should be, how they're being booked right now, let me know in the comments below, and maybe we'll do more of these. And it's also good to get people's input on Twitter as well, and obviously we can grow the wrestling community together. Go and follow everybody as well. Make sure we all grow up as one wrestling happy family. But that's all from me anyway, and like I said, as a final thought from me, is she being overexposed? Yes, but in my opinion, she is dependable, and that's why WWE does it. I think she's one of the best in-ring performers out there. I don't think there's a lot more else for her to do in WWE, but she's going to continue to win championships because they're going to go with a 16-time world champion before she finishes. She might even be the one to beat Flair's record. We'll have to wait and see. Maybe Charlotte beats her dad for 17 championship reigns. Some people won't be a fan of it, but Charlotte will not be wrestling forever. She won't be wrestling into her 50s and 60s. They're going to want to do that in the next few years. I agree that she's probably, with some of the tweets, that she's probably been involved with some of your favourite female superstars matches, and I hope that they continue to build her and Asuka, which looks to be the direction after Backlash into Extreme Rules. I hope they book that well, and yes, even me who's a big Charlotte Flair fan, I do hope that Asuka prevails in that rivalry, because Asuka deserves to have that win, and when she does, it's going to be ever so sweet for fans. But that's all from me anyway. Thank you for watching. Have a great day. This has been SCW The Wrestling Channel. Take care. I'll see you soon here on YouTube.com. All the best.